Oh my goodness, I feel so silly. I just filmed the last bit of my week 8 video and I said I was walking to the metro so I could take it to the airport, and that is true, but that's because I'm picking up my favorite travel buddy. My favorite travel buddy is my dear friend Vlad, who spent weeks 1, 2, and 3 exploring Sofia with me. And even though he had to leave and go be a college student, he was able to return to Sofia for my week 9. And it just so happens that to get to the correct starting point to take the metro to the airport, I have to walk through all of these magnificent Roman ruins. This is just amazing. You are looking at the remains of the ancient Roman city of Serdika, which eventually became modern-day Sofia. Serdika was one of the Roman Empire's most important cities in the Balkans, and most of the ruins you see here were built between the 2nd and 4th centuries AD. I am shamelessly obsessed with these really old rocks. Even after the 4th century AD, parts of Serdika continued to develop for another few centuries. Vlad, if I'm late to pick you up from the airport, it's definitely not because I was taking my time walking through there. Interestingly, many of the ruins you just saw were not uncovered until the construction of Sofia's Metro Line 2 between 2010 and 2012. Fortunately, the uncovered ruins were not just covered back up. Instead, they were incorporated into the metro station and the surrounding public space. I feel like the last time I was at the Sofia airport was a lifetime ago. Vlad! I made you a sign. So Vlad just made it to Sofia.
Yeah, I did.
And I even made him a sign just so he'd know that it was me.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything in my purse that was sign worthy, so I had to improvise a bit. One thing Vlad and I fell in love with in Sofia, and something we had never had before visiting Bulgaria, was Fanta in a blue bottle, which appeared to be lemon and elderflower flavored. So, of course, Vlad's first purchase after getting off the plane was in fact a blue bottled Fanta, and he also had to show off to me his reversible jacket. Vlad, how does it feel to be back in Sofia?
It feels nice. I feel like home again.
It's pretty amazing and heartwarming that returning to a city that you only spent weeks in can somehow feel like returning home. Okay, so Vlad,
Yeah.
I bought you like the tiniest little gift. It was like not expensive, so don't get too excited. And you don't even get to keep it. I'm gonna show you, but I want to see if you remember what this is. Okay.
Is it like a bracelet? No. Yeah, it is.
Do you remember in Plovdiv? The trees?
Oh yeah, like it was like attached to leaves and stuff.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
you put it on the tree. With Vlad only being back in Bulgaria for a few days, we had a ton of stuff we wanted to go do and see. We started with a day trip to the Krushuna Waterfalls, the Venetsa Cave, and the city of Lovech. This day trip was so incredibly full that it actually required its own video just to cover it all. If you're interested in seeing our day trip to the Krushuna Waterfalls, the Venetsa Cave, and the lovely city of Lovech, I recommend checking out that separate travel vlog. After getting some rest from our very full day trip, Vlad and I spent the following day in Sofia. So I had wanted to stop and show Vlad some of the indoor Roman ruins this morning. Unfortunately, the person running that was running late. We went into Common Market, and what do you know? So we went downstairs, and there are Roman ruins in here. I'm sure locals might not be quite as amused, but from an outsider's perspective, the fact that a grocery market and a metro line have both been built around and amongst these ruins, well, I just find that so spectacular. While on our way to pick up a rental car, I could not help but get distracted by the seemingly decades-old infrastructure that had become a canvas for modern graffiti. Vlad and I wanted to get a rental car so we could venture into Fakulteta, one of Sofia's largest Romani neighborhoods. Fakulteta is certainly not an area where many tourists go, and I would recommend that anyone visiting the neighborhood be very respectful, but Vlad and I tend to like experiencing more than just a city's famous landmarks. I did make a separate video all about Fakulteta, and I also tried to provide a little bit of history on the Roma. So if you are interested in learning more about one of Sofia's largest Romani neighborhoods, I recommend checking that video out. So Vlad and I left Fakulteta and we were driving to our next stop of the day, and we passed what kind of looked like a tram graveyard. We pulled over and we've been driving around trying to see if we could find it with no luck. So we just parked and we're gonna walk around for a little bit and see if we can find this graveyard for trams. When Vlad and I travel together, our itineraries always seem to be pretty jam-packed, but sometimes you just have to make time for a side quest or two. Admittedly, wandering through this unknown, at least to us, territory probably wasn't the smartest thing we could have done, but we did stay on a dirt road the entire time, with one exception that you'll see, and we didn't see any obvious no trespassing signs or anything like that. Oh shit. Oh.
Oh, okay.
Someone is. So Vlad and I don't really know where we are right now, but I have a hunch that we're not supposed to be here. It would appear that we stumbled upon some sort of recycling plant, and yes, we did in fact get yelled at in Bulgarian. But for all we know, that woman was happy to have had a visitor, and she could have been shouting, "Hey, you two, come join me for lunch, and we insulted her by running away. All of this because in passing from the main road, I spotted a quote-unquote tram graveyard and wanted to get up close to photograph it. Even though I'm jokingly referring to it as a tram graveyard, it's more likely that what we passed was a tram depot where older trams are being stored, repaired, or kept for spare parts. Fun fact, many of Sofia's trams date back decades, and some were purchased secondhand from cities like Prague. As you can see, horse-drawn carts are still an occasional sight in some parts of Bulgaria, and they're often used to haul scrap metal and other recyclables. Well, we couldn't find the tram graveyard, but we did get to see a recycling plant and a lot of really old, cool stuff. Honestly, that entire side quest was incredibly silly, considering Vlad and I needed to return our rental car and get to an afternoon appointment in Sofia's city center. That appointment was for a tour around the city in a 1989 Trabant, also known as a Trabi.
Let's see what happens. Oh, give it a little choke. These are the gears. 1, 2, 3, 4, and reverse. It takes about 20 minutes to learn how to drive it and then a lifetime to master it.
You may have noticed that our tour guide did not have a Bulgarian accent. Our guide for our ride around Sofia in a Trabant was actually from Canada. After the fall of communism in Bulgaria, our guide and his family learned that they had the right to reclaim land that had been confiscated from their grandmother during Bulgaria's communist era. And this inheritance is what led our guide to move to Bulgaria.
Has some history behind it. That's relevant. Can we take a picture?
Our last site on the tour was Kambanite, which is also known as the Bells Monument. The Bells Monument was built in 1979 for Bulgaria's Banner of Peace International Children's Assembly as part of the United Nations International Year of the Child. Countries from around the world contributed bells meant to symbolize peace, creativity, and friendship among children during the Cold War. There is a long-standing tradition at the monument that only children are supposed to ring the bells. This is part of the monument's symbolism as a place dedicated to international friendship and children's creativity. But our tour guide said that adults who consider themselves children at heart get a pass. It was really fun comparing the sizes and styles of the bells that had been donated from these different countries. It was also really interesting to consider what was going on in these countries in the late 1970s. Of course, we even saw bells donated by countries like Yugoslavia that no longer exist today. Our full day in Sofia had already consisted of a drive through Fakulteta, a side quest alongside a recycling plant, and a ride through the city in a Trabant, but we had one last thing to do. Of course, what would an evening excursion in Sofia be without a walk through some Roman ruins and a tram ride? Vlad and I had heard about a bar in Sofia called Hambara that was lit with nothing but candlelight, and it was supposedly a not so secret place. All right, take two.
Oh my God, that's boring.
He was knocked out though. Adding to its mystique, Hambara does not have any signs advertising its existence, nor is it in a very well-lit area, so if you wander down the incorrect alleyway trying to find it, you might cross paths with a sleeping homeless individual. Supposedly, the only way to gain entry to Hambara is to knock on the door and to get let in. But if I recall correctly, the door was left cracked, probably because the bartender was tired of having to open it for all these locals and tourists. As you can see, even the restroom had the light of a single candlestick. Honestly, I was pretty disappointed to see the musicians using artificial light. I felt like the establishment had gone through so much effort to create a fully candlelit space. I'm not sure why they couldn't fully commit and make it 100% candlelit. Today, Vlad and I are off to the Belogradchik rocks, and we're both having bad hair days, so yeah. We're both wearing hats. After our full day in Sofia, Vlad and I had another day trip to see more of the beautiful country of Bulgaria. Our visit to the Belogradchik rocks was probably one of the highlights of my time in Bulgaria, and like so many things we did during week 9, our Belogradchik day trip required its own standalone travel vlog. It took us a few days to get to it, but Vlad and I found a perfect place to hang our Martenitsi. A Martenitsa is a red and white bracelet that people in Bulgaria give each other on the 1st of March to celebrate the arrival of spring and to wish one another good health and good fortune. Despite our trip to Belogradchik taking place in October, Vlad and I wanted to celebrate the tradition in our own way. After grabbing some lunch, we made our way to our second and final site of the day, Venetsa Cave. Initially, when we were receiving our helmets, I thought maybe that was a bit of overkill, but no, they were pretty necessary. Believe it or not, Venetsa Cave was not discovered until 1973, and it was found accidentally during quarrying operations, making it one of Bulgaria's most recently discovered major caves. Although it was discovered in 1973, Venetsa Cave didn't open to tourists until 2015. The cave tour even included a bat sighting. Between 1973 and 2015, researchers spent decades exploring, mapping, and protecting the cave before walkways, lighting, stairs, and visitor facilities were installed. That said, the tour guide we had said that the communist government within Bulgaria probably just had no desire to prioritize cave tourism, so that could be another explanation for the cave's delayed opening to the public. Sadly, once again, Vlad had to leave so he could head back to school. But before the end of my 9th week in Sofia, there was one last thing I wanted to see on the outskirts of the city. As you can see, I'm making my way toward a very colorful residence in the shape of a snail, appropriately referred to as the Snail House. Despite being a well-known and commonly visited structure on the outskirts of Sofia, I should note that this is not an actual tourist attraction. It is, in fact, a private residence. Of course, visitors are free to admire the residence from the sidewalk as long as they do so respectfully. The Snail House was completed in 2008, and the thing that I find most fascinating about it is that it reflects a level of architectural creativity and individual expression that likely would have been very difficult to gain approval for during Bulgaria's communist era. Under communism, new construction often favored standardized, functional designs, a style that is still incredibly visible today in the large apartment blocks found throughout Bulgaria. It is so hard to believe that I only have 1 week left in Sofia, Bulgaria, but I must say that week 9 was extremely good to me, and I feel like quite a few of the experiences were off the beaten path. So, until next time.